coming home, I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom waits, and they're forgiven. I'm afraid I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. I'm coming I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. I know my kingdom waits, and they're forgiven. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Tell the world I'm coming. I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
Good morning. Welcome everyone to Awakening Hearts podcast brought to you live by Off the Cuff Radio. I'm with my producer, actually, Sprinkles. Hi. Hello, hello, hello from beautiful day from the land of 10,000 lakes of Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is your host, Tess Vergara of Open Heart Mind Coaching. And I am a certified strategic interventionist and awakening coach, and I help those who are deeply longing for enduring happiness, that peace of mind that lasts, and deeply fulfilling joy at soul level. And I help those people who are seeking that to find it within themselves. To go beyond the deeply conflicted state of mind, deeply conflicted state of emotions inside of them, and help them navigate this unification process that is now happening. It's now going on. There's a merge between what used to be separate worlds, the merging of fear and love, the merging of ego and soul, the merging of human and divine as we ascend into unity consciousness. And it's just so blissful and yummy. Okay, so the topic for today is contraction versus expansion. And the inspiration behind this is the weird happenings that I was experiencing. It was like 5 days in a row, I was experiencing weird things happening to me. And it was like, oh my God, and it's so easy to lean into, I shouldn't say lean into, but to go into the default setting, rather the default setting of contraction, of being uptight, of fighting it off, rather than fully being with it, leaning into it, being present with it into expansion, right? And why is this important? Because we are now living in the new world, right? We are in the world of awakening hearts. We have vibrationally shifted and moved out of the old address. We moved out of the world of fear and separation, blame, shame, judgment that was reigning before and was powering over us. And that's not our truth any longer. We have found our power again. We have realized we are more than our physical reality. We are more than the money in the bank. We are more than our jobs, right? We are more than our thoughts, our emotions. We are more than our identity and perceived roles. We are awakening to full and fuller and fuller, more fuller consciousness. It's infinite. You think you step into it, it's not. It's infinite. This growth, this expansion is infinite. There's no there, right? So there is only the now moment, and to live in the full consciousness in the now moment, whatever that looks like, right? As long as you're in alignment with your truth, your higher truth, your highest truth. So we're reclaiming our divine inheritance as the powerful, sovereign creator beings made in the image and likeness of infinite source energy. Yeah, we are creating the new world as we speak. I believe we are the pioneers, because we've never experienced love in this manner before, in this level before. We are here, we are invited here to create in us unconditional love, to anchor in this world the unconditional love that we are. So we're like this blank canvas, right? In fact, every now moment is a blank canvas, it's a blank slate. We're in flow constantly. We're not meant to be stagnant or fixate into one limited expression that we did in the old world, in the old consciousness, right? Now we are open and expanding and drawing and designing and coloring our life as the unique expression of divine love and pure consciousness that we are, in the unique way that no one else can do. You cannot be me. We're all unique. And in the old world, we were made to conform and be the same. And we know in our hearts of heart, we know in the depths of our soul that that cannot be. And there was this struggle in life, right? Because the uniqueness of expressions were expressed, made fun of, made wrong, right? And we've graduated. We've left that world, and we're now into this exploration of who we are and what we are capable of, and the amazingness that's yet to come, that we are all stepping into. Isn't that exciting? We are all meant to shine our hearts so bright so that our souls, our light can shine, like a beacon, calling in more people, to find their light, through our expression. And it's our expression shining a light on them, right? So people can remember their truth, their light, just by us stepping into the fullness of what we came here to be, to do, and to create. Yeah, so we are awakening hearts, and we are paving the way so that more souls can fully inhabit in their physical bodies the soul, their uniqueness that they are, and walk on earth without the limitations, without the binds, the imprisonment that we have to go through in the beginning. That time is over, and now we're showing everyone that we are unapologetically our divineness. So welcome to Facebook Live, welcome to Zoom Room, welcome everyone. And it's very exciting that we have reached a tipping point. This is really how I feel about it. We have reached a tipping point where more and more people are waking up and are awakened and are anchoring more light, more joy, and living day-to-day ordinary lives with greater awareness and high consciousness. And more people are anchoring in more hope, more light, more possibility, and not just that, really embodying love consciousness itself, right here, right now, creating heaven in our midst. right here on Earth. It's like, at one point it was so far-fetched that we had to die first, right? We had to die to experience heaven. And no, we don't have to die anymore. We can create that oneness right here, right now. And it takes personal commitment to be in the service of light, to be in this pure consciousness. And as you know, right, it does not come easy. For me, it wasn't easy, right? It meant surrendering all I knew. And oh my God, right? Do you remember the power struggle that blindsides us? For some, it's still raw, it's still going on. It's still a fight. But then there's already an awareness, there's already an awakening. So what I'm trying to say is power struggle is nothing new to us. It's the resistance, this pushback to not face what is going on, to not face and confront what was the roots of the internal conflict. For me, it was like hell to hell. It was so excruciating to face my demons, but I had to. I couldn't take drugs, I couldn't take alcohol, I couldn't take prescription meds. It was so against my principles. I had no choice but to face my demons head on. But the fight was real. I did not want to go there. There was such a strong pushback, strong resistance. I went screaming and kicking and all that. Even though, what's funny is, even though on a conscious level, I was surrendering. I was there. Oh my God, yes, just show me the way. On one side of it, like the polar opposite of me, I was kicking and screaming on some deep level. It's like this. I was in these two separate worlds that just wouldn't talk to each other and wouldn't get along. I could hear them arguing in my head. You know what I'm talking about? I'd love to hear your comments on Facebook. If you have any comments, or if you want to share your experience about awakening, right? There's this journey of the soul through whatever light can come in. That song by Leonard Cohen, the light goes through the cracks. That's why we had to experience a series of heartbreaks so that our heart can open. Because when our heart can open, that's when our soul had to go through. The soul is light, right? That's the light that we are, our soul coming into our physical body, into our physical existence. So anyway, the fight is real. The power struggle, as we know from experience, can be so overpowering, so intimidating and confusing, and sometimes even irritating, right? And yet here we are, we persisted. We can no longer deny our soul. We really, there was really no choice to surrender, right? We really did choice. It hurt more to stay the same rather than deny our deep longing. At some point, we give in to deep longing and we give life to it. It's a different kind of life. The light has won, and many of us, and many more of us, are making commitments to make our soul a priority, wholeness and integrity a non-negotiable thing, right? In our life, it's like we can't not have our soul fulfillment, commitment. It's more than commitment. It's really what we came here to be and do and create. It's in our soul DNA, in the seeds for potential to fulfill what we came here to do. Because nothing else made sense. We tried willpower. It didn't work anymore. So we had to go through the process of going from willpower and bringing the heart and mind together and open up to a whole new consciousness where the soul is in the lead rather than the mind, right? So now, within light from our own hearts, from head self, from the earth, fire back to innocence, right? Even from source of all creation itself, we are not just experiencing pure light and bliss. What's funny is we are also experiencing bizarre experiences, some bizarre experiences because we've not experienced them before, but also bizarre experiences in like I was saying earlier, I was experiencing all these bizarre incidences in my life, and I was there scratching my head. Like every day there was one thing that was showing up in my reality, and I'm like, why are you here in my why am I experiencing you? Like, who brought you here, right? And things kept showing up in my reality, and all I could do was look up in the sky and say, are you kidding me? It was a series of weirdness, like, WTF, universe? No! Return this to sender. This is not my order. So it was mind-blowing, right? So, and it was like an exercise in mindfulness, in higher awareness, and also in the power of choice that, no, that is not a reality I choose to participate in. I do not live there anymore. Can I please, can you please show me a reality that aligns to my choices? How can I up-level my consciousness even more so that I'm not participating in this, or not, I'm not experiencing this. It's just like, maybe in my old consciousness, when I was in fear, when I was feeling insecure, when I was feeling not very confident in myself, when I was feeling like, just, oh, come on, please, can anybody just love me? Maybe that would have worked in that consciousness, but no, we've shifted our consciousness, right? We've made the shift. So, and the realities are shifting so fast too, and it's really taking my breath away. And the options and realities that show up are so laughable. At least I can laugh about it now. Last week I was like just scratching my head, but that's how we also regain consciousness in a blink of an eye. It's bizarre and weird, and the realities are showing up, and they can be what do you call it, option. We're given an option. Do you want option A, B, C, D, E? Oh, a multiple choice. I was thinking a multiple choice. So we get to choose. Oh, okay. The universe is serving me this buffet. Now, which reality would I like to experience now, right? But when it comes in as an intrusion, it's like, oh my God, why are you here? What are you trying to show me? What are you teaching me, right? What is it in my consciousness that is attracting you? So that was my question last week. But no, it's like, no, that's happening in their consciousness. And yes, I may have called that in, but for me to say, next, that's for me to really choose, that's not a reality I choose to participate in any longer. And then I just watch the past crumble and deteriorate and dissolve, because our consciousness as we speak is being purified and harmonized to align with our truest and deepest desire, to unify with our soul, our light, our source. And it's never done. It's never done. It's never there. It's a constant evolutionary process, which, in the old consciousness is like, when is this going to be done, right? When is this going to be finished? But really, when we really tune into it, like, wow, what excitement can I participate in now? What fun and play can I create right now? And that totally changes how we live our life, right? What is being called in this moment to be created through me? Just totally shifts the energy, and it's more fun. So now, when we, how do I say this? When we experience this weirdness, right, out of habit, because we are creatures of habits, any new change would blindside us and will set off our primitive, we're still human, right? We're still human. And it'll blindside us and it'll set us back temporarily. And the default is to tighten up with any new change. It's like, okay, I can't handle more unknown at this moment, right? And out of habit, we freeze, we seek the old wall of protection and contract back into fear. So that's the human setting. I invite you to move into a higher awareness, because going back to the old way of being, and don't take my word for it, I believe that you are also experiencing this, that when you go back to the old way of doing things, of being in that fear mode, in that blame, shame, and judgment, right? It's no longer supported. Once your soul decides, hey, it's time to wake up, to continue to live in that world feels like death, really, seriously, right? It's like it's no longer supported. You got to find your power back somehow. You got to dig deep into the depths of your soul to find that light, to find that breath. I can breathe here. This is where I'm supposed to be, not there. I feel suffocated there in that old world, right? And I know I did. I tried to stay the same. I don't know about your experience, but I know, what I teach my clients is to get through this phase of, oh my God, this is so big, I can't do this, is to remind themselves the mind's job is to keep you the same. The little trickster that the mind is. If you are not watching, it is easy to go back to the safety of familiarity because it's comforting. And that's our primal need as humans, our human setting, to stay safe and comfortable, right? So the mind will do its best to keep us the same because it's comfortable, it's familiar. But staying the same limits our potential. And the soul is like, nah, you are meant to be more, honey. You can't stay the same forever. I gotta break you out of your shell. I gotta break you out of your protection because it's not aligned with your highest good. It's not aligned with your highest potential. You were not created to play small, right? So we wake up. We eventually find out it's a point of no return. There's no going backwards to the old reality, to the old fear, shame, and blame. We can only go forward and grow and evolve and expand because that's the nature of our spirit. And our spirit is always guiding us to our next stage of evolution, to the next step to fulfill our soul's purpose, our inner purpose. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I'm just gonna, yes, we do persevere. We're meant to move forward and learn and grow. Yes, so very true. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, right? Because you are awakening hearts. You have now come to realize that the wall that once protected you and shielded you and kept you safe was in truth a prison. And so your own wall will betray you. Your own wall of protection will collapse because it's no longer in your highest good. It's no longer aligned to your pure potentiality. So as excruciatingly painful that is to lose this illusion of safety, as my client calls it, illusion of safety, we're not really safe in the box of limitation. Yes, if we look, there is a door that is open to which we can unprison ourselves. Yes, thank you for that comment. That is so true. Yeah, that wall will be replaced by a door to open and unprison and unlock your expression, your joy, your fulfillment, right? On the other side of that box is your fulfillment, is the truth of who you are, not the programming that we were made to be, right? We were all programmed to conform, to stay the same, to not be so loud, to not express ourselves, to not talk when we're not talked to, right? There are so many programs we were told not to do. And that really isn't our highest expression. And that wall of protection, the box of limitation, is the one separating you from your own true self, from your very soul, from your very freedom, from your very joy. Okay, so the invitation is, and for the longest time we know this, and so many teachers have said it so many times. The invitation is let it go, right? Let the wall of separation that is clearing itself out so you can unify with and really embody your highest and fullest expression, which is the God being inside of you in that seed of potential. And as the wall of separation clears and dissolves back into oneness, and as bizarre occurrences or situations show up, they're showing up as catalysts to flush out what remains hiding in the depths of your being, what remains hiding in the depths of your psyche, right? Be it past life or trauma or heartbreak, whatever it is being flushed out of your system. And you may say, oh, but I already worked that through. Just shut up. Just let it go and just watch. Come from this observation mode, right? Let it go, detach completely. Because the second you attach and latch onto it and create meaning and story and blah, 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 you are just reactivating the memory and keeping it alive. You are re-engaging in the past and bringing it forth into the present moment. So the past locks itself in and keeps repeating on and on and on, right? So when we come back after the break, I'm going to show you how, or I'm going to tell you how, or I'm going to share how, I don't know. And the how really depends on your level of willingness to see, one of the blocks I hear from people is, I already know that, or I don't have time, or whatever, right? So depending on your openness, the how really will reveal itself. But I am willing to share with you the how for me, and the how is why I became a coach. Okay, I'll return more with that contraction versus expansion when we come back from our break. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Misty mountains, dusty roads ahead, crossing rivers, dreaming of a bed. From a window in the night, clouds up high. I can touch a stream of gold above, breaking through in hope of night clouds, giving peace of mind to those who've had to try. Trying to make a way. I can let the sun shine on the broken. Let the sun of earth come again. Let the heat fight all the frozen. Let the force win. I am above, I see above. You've seen inside the love of me. You've seen 1,000 times. Season rests upon a hill beneath the ground. Trying to make a way. Let the sun shine on the broken. Let the sun of the earth come again. Let this flower come again. Let the heat side of the frozen. Let the voices silence. Let the voices silence. Let the voices. I am a
All right, we are back. So the question before the break was how? How do we let go? How do we let go of the wall of separation and just allow it to clear and dissolve and crumble and transmute and whatever it does to bring us back into unity consciousness, to bring us back into integrity with our soul, right? How do we do that? And the how is why I became a coach. You know, the intention on this Awakening Hearts podcast, you know, brought to you live by Off the Cuff. Thank you, Sprinkles, for being here with me, is to reveal insights and strategies how not to get yanked back in the world of shame, blame, judgment, and fear. Okay? And the reason people awaken, I love saying this quote every show, the reason people awaken is because they have finally stopped agreeing to the things that insult their soul. And thank you, Anonymous, for that. So anyway, going back to the how do we let go? I remember listening to Wayne Dyer, right? And every time I listened to him, I just wanted to reach out into the audio and like shake him, like, Wayne, seriously, how? Stop telling me all this. How do I do this? I agree with you. I was raised Catholic. The teaching of love and light, you know, is universal to all faith, not just to Catholic, right? It's all faith. However, it's in the interpretation and beliefs that gets imposed on people is where it feels icky and where we separate from our own truth. It's because it's imposed. It's like going by other people's interpretation of someone else's experience. And the truth is not something you learn from books. Truth is something you experience for yourself. And when you come to this experience of truth, no one and nothing can take this away from you. You can stand, you know, with truth and dignity, your very soul, because you've experienced it and no one can make you wrong. That's the power of realization. That's the power of awakening. It's not something to be argued about or convinced over. It's a felt experience. There's a knowingness that no one can talk you out of it. It's a liberation and freedom and enlightenment beyond words. In fact, we shut up. We don't argue anymore once we experience that awakening. Yeah, you go on and fight and prove who's right or wrong. We're content in the knowingness that's in our hearts. We no longer argue. We no longer convince. We no longer push people to believe. We just allow them to come into their own experience of their truth. Anyway, back to the story. So I was listening to Wayne Dyer, right? Teach about love and God, edging God out. And many times, right, I just want to, come on, Wayne. Wayne, I grew up Catholic. Wayne, come on. Just wanted to grab him and say, how? How do you let go? How do you do that? How do you reconcile this inner conflict inside of me? How do I get peace of mind? I know what to do, but why don't I do it? It was infuriating. to not be in control of my own thoughts, of my own emotions. It was crazy. And that's why I became a coach, because I went through that debilitating experience of watching myself spiral out of control. And I don't know about you. Again, I want to hear about your experiences. But for me, it spun me right out of my center. I was, I don't know where I was. I couldn't find my head. So yeah, so it spiraled me into depression. So here's the how. I want to share with you the how. Okay. Um, because we are creatures of habit, the slightest change is enough to make us unstable. And so what I'm saying is, instead of tightening up and contracting, and we do that, we tighten up habitually, like almost as a knee-jerk reaction. It's our go-to default system in the human setting. You know, we tighten up and contract. That's human. Okay. And we do that when we are afraid, and we resist change. Okay. Why do we resist change? Because we fear the unknown, right? We resist success because, well, if we have success, then, oh my gosh, now we have to show up, right? We resist the truth and our own intuition, because then we have to give up the many benefits of playing dumb and playing small, right? What do you mean? Okay. What do you mean, benefits of playing dumb and playing small? Well, that's dumb. There's no benefits to playing dumb and playing small. Yeah, there are benefits to playing dumb and victim and weak and small. There are, because someone else is showing up for them, and that someone else showing up for them means love to them. So it doesn't matter if they're weak and fearful and stuff, they're being fed love. But this kind of love is not sustainable because it's coming from an external source. So when that person goes away, finds another love, or passes away, then that person who felt betrayed, abandoned, and left behind feels so out of power, right? Right. So, and also, okay, so let me stay with that. There's a fear that you will lose what you think is love, the support, acknowledgement, validation that you are getting from this relationship, whether it's relationship from a dog or whatever, from plants, or from from a lover, from a partner, right? And the opposite is also true. There are also benefits of playing strong, so strong they keep people out of their life, you know, the people who are independent. And I know that's me. That was me. I played the strong and independent, that I don't need you. I can do it by myself. Thank you very much. And the Miss Know-It-All. That was my old version of me. Because then you won't have to depend on anybody. And then you won't have to know or experience the pain of finding out that there will never, that the people will not be there for you when you stopped being strong and independent and know it all. Right? It's so sick. Yeah, that's the distortion and lies that we put up with in the old world of unconsciousness. We are just asleep. We didn't know our own power. We didn't know our own truth. And that is attachment. And anywhere you are attached, a part of you, an aspect of you, is denied expression and fulfillment. And as long as there's still delusion on people's mind that they can function from this lower harmonics, this lower vibrational experience, and operate from fear-based consciousness, it cannot survive any longer, because that's where the flood of pure light consciousness, now literally bombarding this very planet, like right now as I speak, so that all of the inhabitants of Earth wake up to full consciousness. And that's why we are experiencing this experiencing this global consciousness awakening. People are waking up and getting to know their real selves, waking up all aspects of themselves, waking up and looking beyond fear, waking up and fulfilling the seeds of their soul, right? Because that old reality cannot survive any longer with the amount of light that you and I are emanating on Earth, plus the magnetics of the Earth have shifted, plus the bombardment of light, photonic light from the atmosphere. So everything is happening so that we, each of us, can fulfill what we came here to be. Does that make sense? So to hang on to the attachment is not working anymore, and what it creates instead is struggle and agony. Let me just say, when we change, everyone and everything has no choice but to change as well. Yes, when we change, we inspire others to change. When we see our light in ourselves, and because we see the light in others despite their behavior, they too can see their own light, right? We stand in pure compassion and love for others because we're no longer buying into the old behavior, so that we're not making them change, but because we're emanating this pure light, that we are, right? It's inspiring people to also find the light in themselves. Okay, so all right, so in the face of bombardment of pure photonic light energy, in the face of all our deepest distortion coming out of hiding, and we have no idea where it even came from. I'm like, oh, I thought I worked on that already. And yet it's right there in your field of consciousness. It's showing up. It's like me last week. I'm like, oh, I did not order you. Who said you can be in my field of consciousness? Get out. Right? It's a distortion that was, it was like the universe was giving me an opportunity to say, no, that's an old belief. I don't believe that anymore. No, I observed that in my parents, and that is long gone. And, I thought I got rid of that, and I thought I took care of. No, it was there, right there again. So I can say no to it again. I can consciously say, no, that's not the consciousness I want to participate in any longer. So, all right. So instead, go back to letting go. Breathe. Instead of automatically going into contraction and fear, which is the default setting. And what is that? What does that mean, contraction and fear? The fear that you're not good enough, okay? The fear that you're not worthy, that no one will accept you. The fear that, oh, this must be showing up because I am wrong and I can't get anything right. The fear that I'm not good enough, or that there's never enough. And that I'm just deluding myself, it'll never work out. Like, who am I to say that I am an awakened being? Like, what nerve, right? With all the self-judgment. So instead of automatically going into, I'm laughing because I'm laughing at myself, right? It's so true, true experience. I must not be worthy, right? If it's not happening fast enough, then I'm doing something wrong, or I might not be worthy. So, okay, stop, right? Instead of automatically going into contraction and fear, stop all the stories you are making it mean about yourself. Stop latching onto it. And in the face of weirdness, as you expand and grow and take your next step of evolution, of ascension, whatever you call it, for me, it's the next step of fun, next step of expression, fullest expression of me. Expand. Instead of contracting, expand, right? How do you let go? Expand. So again, the natural, the learned, habituated pattern, or the survival instinct, is to freeze up and tighten up, right? To self-protect. And the minute you do, you go back into unconsciousness. You fall asleep again. You disconnect from your own power. You disconnect from your intuition. You disconnect from the inner guidance. And the energy you are is vibrating, how do you say this? Like attracts like, right? So the energy that you are vibrating attracts more of the same. Meaning the energy you wear and vibrating and emanating is attracting more of that energy. So if you're lacking confidence, you will attract more people, places, and events that will reflect back to you. Will attract people who will challenge you to have more confidence in yourself. So it might be people who are berating you, and really insulting you so that you find the confidence to speak up. Or these are people who will mirror back to you the confidence that can seem. So I know I've stepped up in coaching people who I personally think are more gifted than me, but they are asking for my guidance. I'm like, oh my God. So it's like reaching this self-concept, this distorted concept, because it's a thing that it will evolve over time as you step more and more into who you are, right? So something Deepak said this morning's meditation, I did this 21-day meditation experience. He said that if you are in the energy of efficiency, meaning from consciousness of lack, not enough to go around, stuff like that. Right? So if you are in the energy of deficiency, the energy of attraction will be weak because you are coming from place, meaning empty attracts more emptiness. And I love when he said, how can a person with bad self-image harness power, right? Ooh. Yeah, just let that sink in. How can a person with bad self-image harness power? So we all started out with bad self-image because that was what was projected onto us growing up and into our adulthood. And our adulthood was to cover up that bad self-image that we were trying to deny and not own up to, but underneath it all, we believe in that bad self-image. It's just so distorted how we did life up to this point, right? So going back to the how, okay, how do we come from this place of fullness and wholeness rather than emptiness, right? How can we come from this image in the likeness and image of God, right? this creator beingness that we really are. It's our divine inheritance. Well, number one, it's becoming aware of what consciousness you are participating in. And I've been telling that the whole episode, right? That's not the reality I want to support anymore. That's not the reality I want to play in. That's not the reality I want to, spend my energy in, right? So think to yourself, am I supporting lack or abundance? Fear or trust? Conflict and separation or unity? Limitation or expansion? So awareness is key to your expanded consciousness. So instead of being tight, be conscious of your own energy. What are you spending your energy on? What are you participating in? This awareness will unlock you out of the box you didn't know box yourself in. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, awareness. It's in the awareness that you have power of choice. Okay, a lot of people don't think that they have choice, and that brings them to a very limited consciousness and disempowerment, and they buy into the victim mentality, and they are forever more until they decide they don't want to participate in that world anymore, that they are victimized by their own consciousness. Right? And it's not their fault; it's their program. But in here, they do have a choice and harness that power of choice, and you do any moment you can shift your consciousness from fear to love. That is power, and that is how expansion is born. That is how you go from limited and tight and feeling that you cannot breathe into expansion. The minute you choose what experiences you want to participate in, you want to create, what emotions you want to feel, what life you would love to live, okay? You have the power to choose that. Number three, non-judgment and total self-love. So when you become aware that you've fallen off and have become unconscious and have fallen asleep, okay, this is very important. Don't pick up the stick and use spirituality and consciousness to beat yourself up. Right? That's still beating yourself up, no matter what consciousness you're in. Okay? In the old consciousness of judgment, shame, and blame and fear, that's what they do. They use the opportunity in front of them to beat themselves up. We don't do that here in the new consciousness, right? When you become aware that you've gone unconscious, say, it's okay. It's okay. I got you. Talk to yourself like you're talking to a child. I got you. I'm with you. I fully support you. We can do this. Okay. I got your back. And that gives your permission to go beyond the familiar limits into expanding your horizon in consciousness and awareness. This permission is magical, really, really magical. Just be with yourself 100%. Unconditional love starts with you. Unconditional love starts with unconditional self-love. Okay, so non-judgment, very important. Okay, number 4, it's practice. Practicing mastering self-mastery over your thoughts, over your words, over your actions. I'll repeat that. Mastering self-mastery. So it took us years to solidify the distortions and separations and illusions, the programming that we once believed in, and we didn't even argue, or it didn't even occur to us to challenge it, because it was fed to us as truth, right? So it took us a long time of pain and agony inside of us to break out and break through. It'll take a lot of self-love to unlayer and untwist the many distortions hiding in the psyche, buried deep, deep down, right? And it's the practice, the actual experience of letting go. Never mind if you're bad at it, okay? If you fear you will fail, never mind all that stories. Get rid of all those stories. Actually doing it gives you the confidence that brings in more self-trust, that brings in more cohesiveness, that brings in more integrity, that brings in more expansion. Okay, when you are actually doing something for you, for the light of your being, for the joy of who you are growing beyond yourself, and that is expansion. All right, we've got 3 minutes. Number 5, it's more than intellectual in understanding. Knowledge in and of itself is not complete and will not bring you back to wholeness if you do not apply it in your own life. Okay? Knowing how to achieve wholeness, it's reading all the books and going all those trainings, and applying that knowledge and training to yourself is another, right? So it's people don't do it because then they'll have to dismantle beliefs, fears, and excuses, and that really brings up a lot of it, because then who are they without their beliefs and excuses and fears? Again, I'm laughing because I was this person in the past. So for me, I had to go outside of Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson and so many other wonderful teachers, and actually hired a coach to guide me how to find the answer within myself. And that's why I became a coach, because I was so desperate and restless to fulfill my soul's calling. And coaching is not for everybody, okay? Coaching is not for everybody, but for those who, like me, when I started this journey, was so ready and was so wanting to do anything and everything that will slay the dragons and distortions and dispowering beliefs. And if you know deep, deep, deep inside of you that you're ready to reconcile your inner conflicts and put to rest your inner struggle, try coaching. And try me. I offer free consultations for those who are ready to step up and step into their highest and purest soul expression and contribution. Coaching will help you expand beyond your wildest dreams. Okay, so number 6, we have 1 minute. Have fun. If it's not fun, it's not expansive, right? It's inhibiting. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Pressure feels not expansive, right? So stop it. Have fun. And then lastly, get curious. Get curious. A fixed mindset is a prison. A fixed mindset is a fixed reality and will box you in, and your soul will suffer. It will anguish. It'll feel like death. So get curious. Curiosity will help you expand. So those are 7 ways to expand your choice, your consciousness, your experiences, your very life, your soul expression. We are at the top of the hour. I have to say goodbye. I have so much more to share with you. So please come back next week, same time, for more awakening hearts. Thank you so much, Sprinkles, and everyone who joined this show. I'd love to hear from you. My email is tess@openheartmindcoaching.com. Please email me for any questions, any concerns, any shares. I love you. Thank you so much. Please keep shining your light out into the world. We need you. I love you. Bye-bye.
The trees under the summer, yeah, the bright light from